Hey friends, it's Baron with Out the Window Weather on this 6th day of October 2015. Current temperature is 60 degrees. You can see beautiful blue sky with some wispy clouds. The leaves are changing awesome. So it is a nice October fall day. So here we are at my permaculture lab homestead site. I've been preparing this for about 2 years. It's been a project I've been thinking about. And so I thought, well, if I do some more preparing over the winter, I've got some new ideas and some new things in mind, so I thought this would be a good time to start the project this fall once I get everything finished up with the chickens and such. So here is our little farm pond that's going to be right here. This is be easy access to the water and pretty much everything else that I would need. That keeps water all year round, has some pretty cool fish in it. Um, There's my boat. Someone was getting rid of a boat. The engine's stripped out of it. All the guts are stripped out of it. And my plan is to make some type of floating dock with it. It floats well. I thought maybe I could put I don't know, turn a floating dock or make floating gardens or even make a place for the chickens. I mean the ducks and such to hang out on there so they can get away from possible predators if need be. So I've got a bunch of different ideas for it. So not exactly sure. So right here in this area we're looking at right now, this is pretty much where I want to put some type of structure. I'm contemplating between a travel trailer or a tiny house or a straw cob house. Um, those are pretty much my main ideas. I would love to do an underground house, but access to the equipment and just bedrock and stone and such is going to definitely make that a little bit more difficult. So the idea is to keep this in an affordable budget so that it is doable for the average folks, because, well, I don't have a lot of money, and I assume that most people that are trying to leave what their currently situation and trying to do something fun, new, and exciting don't have a large cushion of money either. So the idea is to show that it is doable for just about anybody. Just involves some planning and some creative thinking. So where I'm standing, or right up this way, that's where I'd really like to put some type of structure. Right here's nice because it's elevated up. You get a nice view of the pond, and we get some cool ducks and wildlife and great blue herrings, and plus you can see the cool fish, and I really like water. So, it just all works well together. So right here on the edge of the pond is a nice swampy area. And in there, in the spring and such, lots of salamanders and things of that sort. So I really enjoy the little wetlands and swampy area that lives there. And then the water comes down this valley right between where all these trees are. And up there is a spring, and over there are a spring. And both of those springs lead into a ditch that runs along the edge of the gravel road that's just right up there. That gravel road was the original West Virginia Turnpike. It was decommissioned in 1919, so luckily there's a really cool cement um, ditch that runs, and it goes under the road right up there and flows down there. And since there's almost zero traffic on this road, it makes it, I don't have to worry so much about pollution or people spilling gasoline or anything really getting into the water. So a small little filtration system, I should be able to snag some of that water and have access to that. I'd also, during the rainy season, I would really like to build a little water turbine, because it's probably from where the top spring is to where I'm standing right now is at least a 200-foot drop, but probably a little bit more. So I might be able to get some energy and power generated during really rainy seasons to supplement some of the other ones. So right up there where you can kind of see the tree and the such, that is the little road that comes down off of the mountain into this little homestead site. I'm going to keep it grass because I really want to limit the petrol vehicles from coming down here. I mean, of course, some will be needed, but I'd like to use as little gasoline-powered vehicles as possible. And then right there along that fence line, I don't know if you can see it very well, but there's a barbed wire fence line that runs the road right there. My goal there is it's got some multiflora rose growing up and some berries. I plan on introducing some more berries up there and turning into a really cool edible living fence. And the rose hips from the multiflora rose make good rose hip tea and plus food for the birds and such. And then coming off that hillside, I'd like to plant some more fruit trees and such. And you can't see it from this angle, but right up here a little bit is where another spring goes under the road and comes out and makes a little catch pond right up there. I'd like to expand that and maybe step it down. And then I have a nice good water source and maybe some terracing. Or if I could figure out a way to put in a swell, it's a pretty steep drop right there, so I'll definitely have to do some more experimenting. But it stays pretty damp up there, so I definitely like the variety of choices I have from flat to fairly dry to steep and fairly wet, because a variety of trees and plants prefer different ecosystems. So right in front of us right now is where the sun rises, and it goes right overhead, and then we'll lose it about this time of year in October. We'll lose the sun. It'll get behind those trees probably at about 5 o'clock. So we have a pretty good amount of sunlight most of the year here. And actually in the winter we do get a little bit more because the trees lose their leaves all throughout there. And so that adds it. So most of the trees are more of in the old growth. They're at least 50 plus years old. A couple of them, based off of my calculations, are about 200 to 300 years. A lot of oaks, handful of maples, so nice mixed deciduous. I have been throughout the years popping a few evergreens, some blue spruces and such inside it. So if the forest does go downhill over the years, there's another undergrowth forest starting to come up. So yeah, that's pretty much the bulk of it. And my ultimate goal, like I said, is to have this as a permaculture homestead so that you can have a house structure here, be able to move the chickens over here, have a garden, have access to the pond, with all of the sunlight, and with the fact that there's an open area right there. The wind just whips down that way, so maybe have a turbine, a little small turbine up near that tree or something to help generate electric that way, and just pretty much make a completely off the grid homestead and then focus mostly on permaculture. And that is the goal. So just showing you guys the idea. Hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you guys have a wonderful fall day. This is Baron. Adios.